Negreanu is holding deuce-4 suited from the small blind, but he's up against Veldhuis and Harlow, who both have him beat. For now.
King 8 suited for Lex, raised to 1400. Suited 1 gapper for Daniel in the small blind. He calls. Ace 8 for Russ. He's in.
Flop comes ace jack 6. Negreanu understandably checks, but Harlow also checks with pair of aces, giving Veldhuis a free opportunity to scare them off.
He does, betting 2700.
Lex's bet could easily just be a C-bet, which it is, and Russ checks, so he looks pretty weak.
Daniel should definitely be folding here. I have no idea why he's counting his chips. It's hard to imagine a scenario where chasing this draw is worth it. He raises to 7,200. Harlow is in a good spot here with 95% chance to win.
Best hand.
But he folds.
That's a ridiculous fold. Russ just doesn't have enough time or chips to fold there. Why call pre-flop if you're going to fold top pair?
This is why you must attack first on the flop, especially with pair of aces. This could easily be a bluff, but Veldhuis has to think carefully, because even though he's got 80% equity, a king high is not something you usually call with on this flop against Negreanu.
Lex calls.
A stone float.
The turn would have given Russ trips.
Negreanu checks it over, clearly not feeling confident about his 4-2 offsuit. He's looking to see if Veldhuis will take a stab at this pot, but he also checks behind.
The river, the 9 of hearts.
Both these guys were up to the same thing, checking the turn so they can fire a bet on the river without it having to be too big.
There's that Veldhuisian stare.
Negreanu looks like he will try to represent the flush on the river. If he doesn't bet high enough, he might get raised by Veldhuis.
He bets 9,000.
This is a pretty good bet from Daniel. 9,000 makes it seem like he wants to get called. Looks like Lex might have to reconsider his float plans. Lex could very well fold this or follow through on the float maybe, but I don't see him calling.
He does call.
King Haya? That's good. Nice call. Jeez. What the hell was that?
That is just a sick, sick call.
Tom Dwan is looking down on pocket sevens, but he's up against Doug Polk, who's raised to $3,000 with 5-4 suited. 99% of players would just fold with Doug Polk's cards here, but at a cash game of these stakes, the players are mostly playing the players, not the cards. It's a semi-bluff. He's hoping he can steal the pot uncontested.
Woo, 14.
Tom Dwan raises more than 2 times to pot. This is a classic squeeze spot, punishing Doug Polk's wide cutoff open by denying him the cheap positional advantage and forcing him to commit big if he wants to dance. Doug Polk definitely knows he's a big underdog against a small blind 3-bet range. The call here is less about hand strength and more about trying to outplay Tom Dwan post-flop, using position to create fold equity.
Doug Polk opening the suited connector in the cutoff. Tom Dwan puts in the 3-bet from the small blind and flops middle sets. 31,000 in the middle.
In 3-bet pots, the pre-flop aggressor usually controls the story, and this board gives Tom all the credibility in the world. Doug's range has a lot of air here, so Tom can lean into that advantage and apply maximum pressure, knowing position alone won't save Doug if the bets start piling up.
Doug Polk is going to float.
I don't know why, but I thought Warren just said all in for a second. I was like, whoa.
Needs running cards to make a hand.
The 6 of hearts on the turn gives Doug Polk an open-ended straight draw, and knowing his maniac style of playing, it could cost him a lot of money.
Could win on the river with an 8 or a 3.
Tilt software, let's get this shit going.
This should be, yeah.
Another half pot bet.
115.
And Doug's going to raise.
By inflating the pot here, Doug Polk is putting maximum pressure on Dwan's range and setting up the possibility to shove the river whether he hits or not.
I call.
Interesting.
Battling.
Tom Dwan knows Doug loves bluffing, so he checks to trap him.
420.
420.
What are we doing?
You win.
I know I win, probably.
Uh-oh.
Phil Hellmuth is looking down at King 10 offsuit.
To the fans at home, no one even has a chance of understanding it.
There are some fans at home that are like, oh wait, I see Phil's playing just based on reads.
Call.
And you know, but then they don't understand the subtlety of the trapping game. Raise.
1,000 then.
The trapping game's a long-term game.
We head to the flop 3-way, with Phil out of position and holding a marginal hand against a pre-flop raiser who likely has him crushed. This is a chaotic texture. JR has flopped middle set with his queens, a monster hand, but on a monotone board, he is terrified of the flush. Phil is chasing, but he also knows that his 10 of clubs is a powerful blocker. If the fourth club hits, he can represent the nuts even if he doesn't have it.
Turn.
Not be offended. Yes, you will.
Here, Helmuth makes a move that baffles modern pros. He leads out, a donk bet, for 6,000. This is Phil trying to seize control of the pot cheaply, perhaps sensing that JR is scared of the ace or the flush. JR, however, is not buying it. Holding a set, he raises to 19,000. He wants to charge Phil for drawing. Keating folds, but Phil makes a stubborn call.
The fuck do you have? Aces and queens?
What is Helmuth doing
Can't be
here?
ace queen.
Call 13,000. Is he going to represent a club? Well, the river's a 5. He's got king high.
Keating and I are gonna chug a beer.
What's going on here?
Old world style. If you guys have a porno, I'll have one with you. A what?
22,000. He calls with king high. Mr. Reed. What a read. Wow.
Well, I think that was someone's table, Chamath. That
Flabbergasting.
was their Corona. Okay.
Fuck, I got fucked up because of the app game. This Jarrah bluffs all his money off on the app game. Just a big ace is good enough to lead out just so he could bluff me. I let out just so he would raise. He fell for it, but he had a set. Later I'm gonna lead out with the nuts he's gonna raise. I have to. I gotta. You won all that money? I called you with ace 10.
Yeah.
I won all that
Just
money
fine.
because of the app game.
Guys,
but now it's my turn.
Freebird, just have a Corona.
I forgot how tight you're playing today.
Phil Helmuth is looking down at ace-9 suited.
It's not the table I expected.
Pre-flop begins with Phil Helmuth trying to navigate the choppy waters of a deep-stacked cash game. Phil opens to 1,100 with ace-9 of clubs. It is a marginal hand to open from early position, but Phil trusts his post-flop reads. Mike X calls, keeping the pot multi-way. However, Nick Airball, the loud and aggressive newcomer, wakes up with pocket queens. He senses weakness and 3-bets to 6,200. This is a pivotal moment. The correct play for ace-9 facing a large 3-bet is almost always to fold.
All in.
Oh no! The misstep from Helmuth as he moves all in.
You're the best, Phil.
Whatever you want, Phil.
2 times?
Good luck, buddy.
And it's Airball's reputation.
I feel like I'm gonna hit the first one.
I feel like you're scooping.
Airball's reputation gets him these kind of plays.
I know these things.
Never mind.
Ah, flush draw.
How we mind, right?
Ace or a club.
How many outs?
That's 8 clubs and 3 aces. 11 outs.
So what's your
33 outs.
What's your percentage? Like
25%. Exactly.
All right, so 100% for Phil, 0% for Nick. We know this story. Tale as old as time, and the next board we get the ace.
Nope, 10 of hearts. And 2 clubs have been wasted, by the way.
I've been getting crushed forever. Phil wins all the money in poker. I just lose. A little rake back for the kid. I've been beaten
Nope,
down.
king high board. 2 hearts out there.
Emotionally, and
Helmuth
well, prepay not
looking
allowed.
I
sad.
mean,
Not what I expected.
To fold
I like your
hand?
chances.
I don't think so.
Need some kind of competition.
I'll take, if I lose this, I'll take 20. Nice hand.
But you seem like a nice guy, Mike. I won't talk smack to you.
An airball. Scoops, wins $56,000 pot, and does fell to Phil Helmuth. Helmuth bought in for 20K, had worked it up to about 29,000 before losing all of it to airball. So he is in for a second buy-in, but they are min buy-ins.
Phil Helmuth is looking down at pocket jacks.
I don't like giving away 30 balls with ace-9. It's not my style. Ugh. Not my style, Joe.
Once again.
I can fire from you.
Preflop creates a dynamic where Phil Helmuth's cautious nature inadvertently invites disaster. Jungleman opens to 1,200 with king-6 suited, a loose, creative open typical of his style. Mike X, holding ace-10 offsuit, puts in a 3-bet to 3,800. Helmuth, sitting with pocket jacks, finds himself in a tricky spot. Rather than 4-betting to isolate and define his hand strength, Phil decides to just smooth call. This passivity invites Jungleman to come along for the ride, creating a three-way pot where jacks are vulnerable to overcards and multi-way action. The flop is a mixed bag. It is a disaster for Hellmuth as the king hits Jungleman's range squarely. Jungleman has flopped top two pair kings and sixes. Mike X, the pre-flop aggressor, completely whiffs. The action checks to Mike X, who makes a standard continuation bet of 4,400. Hellmuth, now trapping himself, just calls with his underpair. He is stubborn, unwilling to believe the king hit anyone, but Jungleman is lying in wait. He check raises to 15,400. This is a massive power move. Mike X quickly folds his air. Hellmuth, however, interprets this raise differently.
He's just
What in the world
crushed.
do you have, Jungle?
Mickey.
You have what?
My name is Mickey.
What do you have, Mickey? All right, let me just run it through my mind. Let's see. If I'm moving and I'm wrong, I'll probably just fucking quit. That's not much fun, is it? On the other hand, the Warriors are playing, so that's okay. You have a 6, Jungle Man. I was wrong against Nick. I'm not wrong too often. What the fuck? Mickey, what do you have, Mickey?
He looks at his stack of roughly 16,000 remaining and decides he is pot committed. Perhaps he puts Jungleman on a draw or a smaller pair like 8s or 9s. In a move born of frustration and a refusal to be pushed around,
Fuck, I just don't believe you, Jungle. All right,
I just don't believe you.
Hold on, he went all in.
I just don't believe you, and unfortunately for Phil Hellmuth, he is drawing dead to 2 outs.
All right, 2 times.
Ugh.
Don't do me dirty now. I already trusted you.
What the fuck is going on here? What do you have? 10s?
No. Suited private.
Only a jack will save Phil Hellmuth now. Otherwise, his second buy-in will be gone as well. And that is not a jack, my friends, 9 of diamonds.
Phil, you're a bro.
Fair, man. Fuck, this is not much fun. Where's my phone?
She's in with 6s.
Jennifer Tilly kicks things off with pocket 6s. This is a decent hand to entertain a small raise with and see if luck is on your side.
Back on Arden. She calls the 3-bet as well, so 3-way to the flop. Oh my word, set over set and Griffin's flop top pair?
This is going to be bad for Griffin, but it's going to be real bad for Arden.
With the board that the flop delivers, everyone has something to bet about. But instead of that, Tilly and Cho decide to check. With that in mind, our weak top pair is trying to take control of the board by shooting a small bet of $2,500. Tilly is loving it because other than a set of kings, nothing else on the board beats her, and she would love to see this pot growing, so naturally she calls. Miss Cho, on the other hand, has a completely different plan. She is not waiting for the pot to grow. She is growing it herself. She does that by firing a $9,400 bet. Now Benger has a choice. Entertain this top pair, or realize the truth and just give up.
Why is he so serious? He's like a goober 99% of the time.
The angry man quickly decides to fold and not pursue the king. On the other hand, Tilly is more than happy to oblige Miss Cho by re-raising to $30,000 with her set of 6s.
Oh boy.
Jen re-raises $30,000.
At this point, Miss Cho should know the deep trouble she finds herself in, but still decides to go ahead and call on her set of 5s. The turn delivers the 9 of clubs, a card that is completely irrelevant to both of them. If I was in the position of Tilly, I would be betting pot here. What would you? Let me know in the comments below. I guess Tilly is not so happy about my jamming suggestion, so she decides to check here and wait for something magical on river. Same thing for Miss Cho. In her case, though, that is in her favor.
And Arden spikes a 1-outer. She's got quads. Meanwhile, Jen has rivered a full house.
buckle up because this hand just went from pretty sick to absolutely bonkers.
People say patience is a virtue, but in Tilly's case, her patience came to bite her from behind. The river delivers the only card that can save Miss Cho, and that is the 5 of clubs. Now the only question is, will Tilly get baited by her now full house hand? Or will she read her for the quads Miss Cho has? And as we all thought she should do, Miss Cho goes.
There it is.
This is not good.
No, it sure isn't.
If Jen calls, this will be the biggest pot of the game.
Arnon, you have quads because I can't beat quads.
Does she know?
I don't think you have kings full. And I don't think you have nines full. You might have fives full.
That's a call.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down on pocket queens. He opens to $1,200 from early position that raise sizes well for a loose table and keeps his range strong and uncapped. 4 players continue. David Williams flats with pocket kings. Against this many callers, Negreanu's plan is straightforward.
We have some action.
Play pot control against condensed ranges, realize position, and let dominated one-pair hands overplay on later streets. The monotone, king-high board polarizes ranges immediately. Nut advantage lives with suited spades and sets. Top pair advantage sits with the blind callers and late position flats. Mosseri checks.
Everyone take a look, see if they have a spade in their hand.
Calacanis takes a small stab of $4,000 into about $20,000. A sizing that usually represents one pair without a high spade, weak spade draws, or simple information gathering. Negreanu just calls with queens. That flat keeps his range wide and invites dominated value behind to continue. Critically, holding the queen of spades blocks the nut flush combinations and secures useful run-out equity if a 4th spade arrives.
Colin.
And the loose cannon's all in.
Cannon time.
Abe and Jason are out.
Oh boy.
Gamble, gamble. You don't have much money.
26.
Count what you got. Let's have a count of the loose cannon one time.
Boy, here you go.
This could be
Like 75.
this could be that time here.
On the 4.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, you're supposed to gamble sooner or later.
Daniel calls.
Pair the board, I call.
David's in 2.
Got a flush.
Oh no! Okay.
Wow.
He's
Oh,
good.
no,
Well, you would have busted me anyway.
Hold on.
Okay, I got a big side pot working. So let's just have a spade.
Let's pair the board.
Just do one time, right?
I would like to do more than one, but actually screw that, one time.
What the heck? That's a spade.
Good hand.
Will's out.
So I won that pot for sure. Go ahead, pair the board. What the hell?
All right, he wants to pair it, so just pair it.
It doesn't.
Scooped it.
Wow.
Sick
hand,
hand,
nice
buddy.
hand.
Sick hand. Tell your wife I'm sorry.
Phil Lack is looking down at ace-jack offsuit. Pre-flop. Action begins with a unique dynamic that instantly inflates the stakes. A double straddle is on. This forces the players to play for a bloated pot before a single card is dealt, widening ranges and encouraging loose aggression. Phil Lack, known for his tight play, finds ace-jack of diamonds. In this lineup, this is a premium holding, yet Lack decides to just flat call the straddle rather than raising to isolate. This passive play brings Perkins along with 10-3 offsuit, a hand that has no business being in the pot, but Perkins loves to splash around. The result is a 3-way pot where ranges are wide, undefined, and dangerous. The flop falls a texture that hits the high card heavy ranges of the callers. Perkins checks his air, and the action falls to Williams. Despite having completely missed the board with only king high, Williams decides to represent the queen.
I wasn't gonna call. I figure if I call, then you try and make a move. Then you guys crash into each other. One of you gets wounded. Then I'm gonna get you.
Folds.
I like it. Planning for the future.
Planning. One of you guys are gonna get wounded.
The turn brings the jack, a card that drastically shifts the power balance. Lack has now improved to trips, giving him a stranglehold on the hand. Williams, unaware that he is drawing dead, decides to tell a convincing story. He fires a second barrel of 14,500. This is the critical strategic error. By firing again, Williams is polarizing his range to either a strong queen or a complete bluff. He is trying to fold out a hand exactly like the one Lack used to have, a weak pair, or a floating 7. The river is the 4, a complete brick that changes nothing. Williams, having fired 2 shells and received 2 calls, finally hits the brakes.
All in.
Williams folds.
9-10.
Man, Joe, I'm telling you, you gotta have one of these rushes. It feels electric. It's better than cruising over a cliff. I mean, pre-hit the earth. The feeling of adrenaline, the rush.
Tony G is looking down on pocket 3s. Pre-flop. This is Tony G doing Tony G things. Reynolds opens with ace-queen, the classic I probably have the best hand raise. Tony wakes up and decides his 3s are not just a set mining hand, they are a leverage hand.
We'll re-raise.
He bumps it to 5,000, not huge, but enough to isolate and make Reynolds play a big pot out of position.
Never been caught this much bluffing in probably, I don't know, 10 years. Like, in the last 2 weeks.
I have to call.
I understand. I want you to call.
It's a gentleman's call.
The flop comes a dream board for Reynolds, and a pretty miserable one for Tony. Top pair top kicker versus a tiny underpair with no club and no real backdoor plan. When Reynolds checks, he caps his range just enough for Tony to feel obligated to keep telling the story.
Qualifying on this board has to at least be a backdoor draw, so you have like 3-4 plus.
I do have a backdoor.
Backdoor wheel draw.
He calls.
I fold my hand right now.
The turn is the 3 of diamonds, and that single card flips the world upside down. Tony goes from hopelessly behind to stone crushing with bottom set.
Be wary.
The pot is already chunky. Reynolds checks a second time, and Tony now has every incentive to shovel money in while the board still belongs to the top pair player.
If you do call, I will check the river, don't worry. That's like the last bet that I just want to make sure I'm not in really bad shape.
Reynolds again only calls. With top pair, top kicker, and a redraw to improve, he is never folding.
Don't come out betting on me, just check a dark.
I can't do all that dark stuff.
The river brings the 9 of clubs, completing the front door club flush. From Tony's perspective, this is the one card he did not want to see.
That's like a river now that I'm going to be struggled to be called on. But I'll still bet 30,000.
When Reynolds checks a third time, Tony has a choice: shut it down and hope to win at showdown, or bet thin, trusting that Reynolds has a 1-pair hand too strong to fold, but not strong enough to raise.
Spread the pot, please. Man, Tony. You have to be value betting yourself.
Reynolds
here.
calls.
A set's good. Any set's good.
That's good.
You having a good time, Tony? Things working out for you?
But the river cost me a lot. I mean, I could have made a real pressure cooker there.
Vanessa Russo is looking down on pocket aces. Pre-flop, this looks like a routine spot that secretly sets Vanessa up for maximum pain. She opens to 1,000 with aces, the dream starting hand, and gets flatted by Lex on the button with king 4 of clubs. Suited king in position versus a single raise is completely standard for him. He is not trying to make a monster. He is trying to play pots and lean on people post-flop. What Vanessa sees is a competent pro calling wide on the button. What she does not see is that this exact hand shape is built to crack an overpair on a low-paired board.
Right here? This is the weird spot?
No, that hand's the weird spot.
The flop comes king 4-3. For ranges, this is a disaster for Vanessa and a celebration for Lex. She still has the overpair advantage in theory, but in practice his flatting range includes all the suited king X and random sets. He decides not to get fancy and leads 2,500, a small, confident attack that says, "I connected." With top and bottom pair, he is miles ahead of all her 1-pair hands, yet still vulnerable to overpairs and bigger kings, so betting to define the hand and start building a pot is perfect. The turn brings the queen, which is one of those cards that helps the aggressor's story more than it helps anyone's actual hand. From Vanessa's perspective, it is a brick. From Lex's seat, it is time to defend from the possible king-queen. When he fires 7,700, he is saying, "I still have it, and this board keeps getting better for me." With top and bottom pair, he is now comfortably ahead of every overpair. The only real disasters are sets or slow-played king-queen. Vanessa again just calls. That second call is very telling. She is no longer trying to protect aces. She is explicitly putting Lex on a king or a bluff and deciding to ride the hand down as a bluff catcher. The river pairs the 3, and that seemingly harmless card quietly locks in the cooler. Lex's kings and fours are now counterfeited. When he bets 18,400 for the third time, the line is completely coherent.
Oh, sick river. Unbelievable.
Pretty good with these rivers with aces.
Cannett opens the button to 120,000 with pocket aces, a standard linear raise that wants calls from dominated aces and broadways. Haxton defends the big blind, getting a great price. That defend thrives versus late position opens. It flops backdoor straights, occasional two-pair, and the jack of clubs is a premium blocker that unlocks strong semi-bluff lines on club boards. Effective stacks are deep enough that Haxton's plan is realize equity first, attack later.
Wow, what a flop. Top set for Cannett, royal flush draw for Ike.
On the flop, Cannett smashes top set and nut club density, c-bets tiny, keeping his whole range intact and denying equity from random hands. With one club and no made hand yet, Haxton's raise would isolate himself against nut clubs and boats. Calling is superior. He realizes equity with his jack-high club while keeping every worse club and many red card bluffs from Cannett inside the pot. The turn is the 7 of clubs, and Haxton arrives with the flush. Checking is mandatory. His range needs check calls to protect earlier passivity, and it invites bets from one club hands and overpairs without a club. Top set without a club hates facing a check raise, and his turn checking range is heavy on exactly what Haxton targets. The river pairs the queen, double pairing the board with ace and queen. That card is far better for Cannett than for Haxton. It promotes ace-queen and pocket queens to boats, and leaves many single club hands stuck as one pair. Haxton leads 450,000 into roughly 590,000, avoiding torching value versus boats. Cannett responds by shoving for Haxton's effective stack, polarizing to full houses or an extremely rare bluff. Given the turn check, his credible bluffs are thin. A jack-high flush is strong in a vacuum, but not against this line and texture.
You win.
Let's go.
Show me the bluff. It would be a lot of fun.
Don't do it.
Goofy limps the big blind with king 10 suited. Limping protects his range, invites isolates from hands he dominates, and keeps the pot manageable out of position with a hand that plays cleanly post-flop. Nick airball isolates to $1,200 from under the gun with queen 9 offsuit. The raise pressures the limp, seizes initiative, and expects to realize equity against a single caller. Goofy calls. Suited Broadway is too strong to fold, too thin to 3-bet out of position, and calling keeps Nick's range wide. Goofy checks. On an ace high, 2 diamond texture, Nick is supposed to continuation bet often, so checking lets that happen. Nick obliges for $700, a small, range-driven stab that folds air and taxes random backdoors while leaning on his perceived ace advantage. Goofy check raises to $1,700. King 10 of diamonds is a premium semi-bluff, gut shot to Broadway, the king high diamond draw, and even a royal flush. Raising clears out weak queens and 5s to 9s, charges worse draws, and starts a pot that can realize maximum value when diamonds or Broadway materialize. Nick calls with middle pair and position, keeping bluffs in and retaining control of the pot size. Bang! The third diamond lands and Goofy upgrades from a draw to the nuts. With his story perfectly coherent after the flop raise, he leads $2,000. Leading now Prince, worse diamonds pay, stubborn Queen X pays, and some Ace X talk themselves into continuing because the Jack is a counterfeit scare rather than a clean killer in their minds. Goofy goes for a small, irresistible value bet of $3,500. After check raise, lead, and a blank river, this size targets exactly what Nick shows up with most often.
Makes the call.
Royale.
Royale with cheese.
Royal.
Schwan is looking down on pocket 9s. Dylan opens to $150 with King Jack suited, classic live open that leverages position, plays well multi-way, and keeps dominated Broadways in. L.A. Dylan 3 bets to $400 with Ace-8 suited, a light but sound squeeze that blocks the strongest 4 bets, takes initiative, and retains playability when called. Schwan cold calls with pocket 9s in the small blind versus a wide squeeze and a single open. Set mining is priced in, and 9s also realize well on many flops. Dylan closes the action by calling King-Jack suited, doesn't want to 4-bet and face a jam. It realizes equity cleanly in position. Schwan checks her underpair on a paired 2-diamond board. Leading folds worse and isolates better. Dylan checks in the middle 2 overcards but no diamond and sandwiched between ranges, so pot control is best. L.A. Dylan stabs $500 into a multi-way pot. That bet folds a chunk of ace-highs underpairs, charges diamond draws, and keeps his C-bet range balanced with some bluffs. Juan calls. 9s beat a lot of L.A. Dylan stabs and can improve. Raising mostly turns her hand into a bluff versus better 10s flush draws. Dylan lets it go. No diamond, poor visibility. The 3rd diamond lands and an overcard to Schwan's 9s arrives. Schwan checks again, keeping her range uncapped and avoiding getting blown off equity by a check raise. From her seat, L.A. Dylan's flop stab can include many single diamond floats. Forcing those to fire again has value. L.A. Dylan checks back, very disciplined with ace-8 no diamond. His turn barrel would target mostly stronger hands and invite check raises from Schwan's diamond holdings. Checking preserves showdown value versus busted floats and protects his range for when she does show up with slow-played flushes. 4 diamonds on board plus straights complete. Ranges compress and many 1-pair hands hate life. Juan leads for $2,895.
Really? I played this so bad then.
Phil Hellmuth is looking down at ace-9 offsuit. Preflop. This is another hand that looks harmless on the surface but quietly lays the trap. Martinez opens with a perfectly reasonable raise with a suited connector that can smash a lot of boards. Hellmuth just flats, which already puts him in an awkward spot.
This is one of the best thing we have. Did you like it?
Minieri peels happy to set mine and play a small pair in position, and Perkins closes the action in the blinds, getting a big price.
Italy was the first place I went where I bought pizza by the kilogram. They weighed it, and they said, oh, you have 180, whatever.
The flop looks dry to Hellmuth, but is extremely live for the field. Perkins checks, and Martinez decides to check as well.
This is the Phil lock check. No, notice the
It's two-handed check.
Sometimes he likes this, I like that little.
Controlling the pot with just 2 overcards and an open-ended straight. When the action gets to him, Hellmuth seizes the chance to bluff C-bet and fires 4,200. He has 2 overcards and some straight equity with the 9, and his bet folds out exactly the kind of weak holdings you expect from the blinds and from Minieri. That part works. Minieri and Perkins both get out of the way. Martinez, however, is never folding. His hand has a ton of equity against a single C betting range, and check calling keeps all of Hellmuth's bluffs and thin value hands alive while disguising his own draw. The turn is the disaster card for Hellmuth and the dream card for Martinez.
12,800. I'll take this one now. You fold. I win.
I know.
Against that range, Martinez is thrilled to call. He is ahead of all the bluffs and semi-bluffs, ahead of any 8x that decided to stab, and still has redraws even when Hellmuth happens to have a big hand. The river pairs the board with the 7. Having let Hellmuth drive the action on both flop and turn, Martinez finally leads for $15,500 into a big pot. It is a classic blocker-looking value bet designed to get paid by exactly the kind of overpairs and stubborn 1-pair hands Hellmuth likes to hero call with. Hellmuth, though, goes one level too far. With ace-9, he has nothing but ace-high and a missed straight draw.
Raise it. 45,000.
And instead of giving up, he turns it into a bluff, raising to 60,500, trying to represent a monster, 7, or a slow-played set. The problem is that Martinez's line is far more consistent with a strong made hand than with a bluff. Martinez thinks it through.
Please don't have forceful.
What you got?
Huh?
What you got?
If this was your hand, how are you playing it? Comment it below and let's compare different ways to play this out.
You got fourths?
I might have forceful. I might not.
Okay, call.
Wow.
Good call, you win.
Oh my God, what is going on? What is going on?
Tilt
oh my
juice!
God.
Get the tilt juice out for everyone.
Amber.
Have
Thank
a
you.
little sip.
Drink it up.
Wow. I can't make that call.
So sick.
No, I can't make that call. No, I can't make that call.
No, he bet 15,000 with a 10.
I broke that, so
You can raise and bluff. I'm steaming now.
Oh, we got some. Me and you.
Now I know. I mean, it's so brutal because now I know he's going to lose all his money to one of you guys, and I might go broke in the meantime. He put in 70,000 with top pair. I haven't seen that in a cash game in 2 years.
That was good though.
He was right, but I haven't seen that in 2 years.
Phil Hellmuth is looking down at pocket queens. Pre-flop, this is one of those classic big pair collision spots where the trap is sprung before a flop is even dealt. Hellmuth opens to 800 with completely standard and absolutely expecting to be ahead of most of the table.
I have the button. I shouldn't even look. I should just decide I'm gonna win. Oh, I don't have to decide I'm gonna win. I'm just gonna win.
Lock calls.
I'm just gonna win this one.
Lock flats, which already narrows him to a lot of medium strength hands and some traps.
How about the pot?
Bill Perkins comes in with the pot.
Little pottage.
Pottage in the cottage.
Pottage
in the cottage.
That sizing is fine. It isolates the opener, punishes Lock's call, and announces a very strong range.
How much do you have there anyway?
What is it?
Nothing.
You keep saying not much, and this is a 25K chip, kid.
Something, I don't know.
Hellmuth looks down at queens, sees Lock's dead money in the middle and the wide public perception that Perkins can be splashy, and decides to...
All right, I raise the pot too.
Hi-ya!
It is a sizing that does two things at once. It tries to shut Leok out, and it tests Perkins to see whether he really has it or is just leaning on position.
What are my choices?
Ship it, call, or fold.
I re-raise the pot.
All right, I'm all in. I'm all in.
It's all in. Okay. Aces or?
I got queens.
I have kings.
Holy cow.
I mean, let's just run it once, I guess.
Go.
I decided in advance I'm only going to run it once today.
You know what? Poker should get back to this one-time thing. It's so manly. It's like the West. We're going to go find gold and go into the West and run it one time.
6, 5, 8, all hearts. Turn. Ace of diamonds. 10 of clubs, and Perkins is going to double up.
Hi, Sam.
Thank you. Ta-da! I finally won a hand. I had maximum tilt juice. It was like overdrive.
I mean, the businessman, you know, he shows up with kings when he has 43,000. Come on.
You know,
So ridiculous what happens to me in this game.
Phil Hellmuth is looking down on Jack 10 suited.
That just makes me so sick to my stomach. I mean, whether I'm right or wrong, it just makes me sick that...
Pre-flop this looks innocent, but the roles at the table are already defined. Mercier is the young, aggressive straddler. Hellmuth is the self-appointed sheriff who hates getting pushed around. Hellmuth just limps with Jack 10 suited, a hand that could easily open or raise, but that he chooses to park in the weeds. The flop comes 4-5 king, 2 diamonds. It is a board that hits the straddler way more than the limper. Mercier has actually connected, bottom pair plus a gut shot, with some backdoor diamond possibilities. Hellmuth has pure air. When Hellmuth checks, Mercier does exactly what you expect a good aggressive player to do. He fires 1,200 into the dead money. Small sizing, classic range bet saying, I have all the kings, fives, and random pairs here, and you probably don't. Hellmuth's response is immediate and loud. He snap raises to 4,000. That raise is not really about his cards. It is about yanking the pot away from the kid who just stabbed at it. The turn brings the ace of clubs and dramatically shifts the texture without actually improving either hand in a made hand sense. Mercier's 4 is still just a small pair, but now Hellmuth picks up a legitimate draw. After representing strength on the flop, Hellmuth has found some real backup equity. He leans into the story and bets 8,000. That sizing is telling. It is not all in pressure. It is a keep calling if you dare. The river is the 6 of hearts, a complete brick for Hellmuth. This is the moment where a lot of players light money on fire by following through just because they have to tell the story. Hellmuth does something quietly smart. He gives up. He checks and admits that his bluff has run out of road.
What the is going on here? The bad player should call with bottom pair. I call 9,000 more with Jack 10 or whatever the hell he had. I just spike a jack like it's nothing.
Spike 2 jacks.
I'm glad you're enjoying it, Donnie. Well done. That's fine. You made a good call. I just want to play another 5-6 hours and see how many times you lose with hands like that. Jason, I think, is an excellent player.
He just said he was a bad player.
I'm the
right
bad
after
player,
the hand, you go, these bad players. And he's the one who made these bad players calling me with bottom pair. See, that's the thing. You insult him because you're losing and feel like it's okay.
I thought you hit the 6. I was kind of upset. That's
You
why
tried to hit the 6?
I made a disgusting check on
You
the
went
river.
check.
God, I just lost.
Put him on 6-7.
6.
Negreanu is looking down on Jack 10 suited. Lichtenberger opens the hijack and both stacks behind are deep, so the pre-flop incentives matter. With aces, raising to 45K keeps in dominated broadways and pairs while leaving room to play streets post-flop instead of taking a huge 4-bet pot this close to the business end of a major event. Negreanu flats the cutoff with Jack 10 suited. Against a competent hijack opener and a sticky big blind, that hand prints by realizing equity rather than trying to 3-bet. If he 3-bets, he invites a 4-bet from value, folds out the weaker stuff he dominates, and risks playing a bloated pot with a hand that prefers multi-way, position, and disguised equity. D bleeds into 2 players. With top pair and a backdoor club, he denies overcards a free look and sets the price on a texture that can change quickly. Lichtenberger just calls with aces. That's deliberate, raising polarizes him on a wet board and risks pushing out Negreanu's dominated continues. With the ace of clubs, he blocks the nut flush, so he doesn't fear as many bad turns and can keep ranges wide. Negreanu's call with Jack 10 is standard. He has the clean open-ender to the nuts, excellent position, and 2 opponents who will pay him off if he hits. Turning this into a raise would fold out worse and isolate against the top of range. The 7 of clubs hits, and Negreanu picks up the straight at the same time the front door flush completes. Lichtenberger checks as well, which keeps his range disguised and preserves the option to spring a check raise. With aces that include the ace of clubs, he can induce a bet, choose between calling and jamming, and if he is behind, he carries 9 outs to the nuts. Negreanu fires 295K to tax everything at once. The bet extracts from 2 pairs and sets that fear a 4th club, charges single club over pairs that refuse to fold, and denies a cheap river to ace of clubs holdings that would love a free card. The sizing is intentional because it sets up a straightforward stack off versus a check raise, and avoids giving a volatile river the chance to undo his equity lead.
Feeling comfortable right now. See? You can tell by my energy. Relaxed. What does that usually mean? Huh? What? Dang! As soon as I start yapping, he goes in. Oh, man.
Imagine that you are so good with the mind games that you can induce an all-in shove with just some yapping.
It's tough decision. I'm gonna need a minute.
While we wait for Negreanu to make his decision, please give this video a like. Thank you.
Because you check the turn. I guess you do that with the ace high flush, right? Well, you have to have it. I don't think I can fold, though. Nice hand, bro.
This part here was inaudible, but you can clearly see that he is saying deuce of hearts a few times.
Called the deuce of hearts. Were you hearing me saying deuce of hearts?
Phil Hellmuth is looking down at pocket queens. Pre-flop, this is one of those classic big pair collision spots, where the trap is sprung before a flop is even dealt. Hellmuth opens to 800 with completely standard and absolutely expecting to be ahead of most of the table.
I have the button. I shouldn't even look. I should just decide I'm gonna win. Oh, I don't have to decide I'm gonna win. I'm just gonna win.
Lock calls.
I'm just gonna win this one.
Lock flats, which already narrows him to a lot of medium strength hands and some traps.
How about the pot?
Bill Perkins comes in with the pot.
Little pottage.
Pottage in the cottage.
Pottage in the cottage.
That sizing is fine. It isolates the opener, punishes Lock's call, and announces a very strong range.
How much do you have there anyway?
What is it?
Nothing.
You keep saying not much, and this is a 25K chip, kid.
Nothing. I don't know.
Hellmuth looks down at queens, sees Lock's dead money in the middle and the wide public perception that Perkins can be splashy, and decides to...
All right, I raise the pot too.
Hi-ya!
It is a sizing that does 2 things at once. It tries to shut Leok out, and it tests Perkins to see whether he really has it or is just leaning on position.
What are my choices?
Ship it, call, or fold.
I re-raise the pot.
All right, I'm all in. I'm all in.
It's all in. Okay. Aces or?
I got queens.
I have kings.
Holy cow.
I mean, let's just run it once, I guess.
Go.
I decided in advance I'm only going to run it once today.
You know what? Poker should get back to this one-time thing. It's so manly. It's like the West. We're going to go find gold and go into the West and run it one time.
6, 5, 8, all hearts. Turn. Ace of diamonds. 10 of clubs, and Perkins is going to double up.
Nice hand.
Thank you. Ta-da! I finally won a hand. I had maximum tilt juice. It was like overdrive.
I mean, the businessman, you know, he shows up with kings when he has 43,000. Come on. So ridiculous what happens to me in this game.
Bill Perkins is looking down at Queen 8 offsuit.
You can't let him hit the 2-outers.
I don't think you know how to beat this game.
If he had 2 9s and he just shoved there, and he just put in like 80,000, you think that's good poker because he won?
No,
Is that good poker because he won? Or?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that he
What are you
made the
saying
move
exactly?
on the right moment and in the right spot. You know what I mean?
Okay, so
Because,
so
he
he's
knew
playing
he was
really good
getting
poker.
scared.
So he's like a great player now, huh? What are you saying? I
You
want
don't
to hear you say
understand
it.
what I'm saying. You don't
Well,
understand
tell me,
what I'm
tell
saying.
me. He's a great player, right? This guy.
You don't understand what I'm saying.
Pre-flop sets the stage for a classic collision between a fearless professional and a wealthy amateur who refuses to back down.
It was great poker. I folded. He got me off a pair.
Dario Minieri, the aggressive Italian pro known for his hyper-loose style, opens the pot to 1,100 with ace-queen suited. It is a standard open, but the action gets interesting immediately. The flop falls a texture that spells disaster for the amateur. Both Minieri and Perkins flop top pair, but the difference in kickers is catastrophic.
He's up like 100 again or something. the young Shaolin monk.
It's awesome.
Minieri starts with a continuation bet of 2,100. Elke, holding 2 overcards and a gut shot straight draw, makes a sticky call, refusing to give up just yet. Then, Perkins decides to take control. Misreading the strength of his hand and likely putting the pros on draws or weaker pairs, he raises to 10,000. This is a massive overplay. By raising top pair with a weak kicker in a multi-way pot, Perkins effectively isolates himself against hands that crush him. He folds out the worse hands and keeps in the better ones. Minieri, realizing he has the amateur dominated, makes the disciplined call. He doesn't need to re-raise yet. He wants to keep Perkins on the hook. Elke, realizing he is sandwiched between a raiser and a caller, wisely gets out of the way. Minieri checks the turn. A brilliant tactical move. He feigns weakness and invites Perkins to fire again. And Perkins does take the bait. He bets 15,000, fully convinced that his queen is the best hand. He is value owning himself betting for value when he is actually behind.
56.1 more.
Minieri moves all in for 70,600.
Minieri springs the trap. He shoves all in for a total of 70,600. This is the moment of truth. Perkins has bloated the pot with a marginal hand and is now facing a shove that represents extreme strength.
You must have me beat. I'm just gonna look at my pocket for a second. Just doesn't go on the table. Just see what I got left.
Tell me what you have and look at my face.
I bet you don't.
Come on, I can't get an edge on that because I'm already made my bet. I did already my bet.
Are you gonna show your hand?
I can't answer this now.
Amanda!
I can't answer this now.
Can she make you show your hand?
I don't want him to show his hand.
Oh, come on, guys.
Amanda, you got that one right. That was a good answer, because the hand's not really over.
Just for agony's sake, I think your hand's worth
not now, but
$56,000.
after-
I want to see your hand.
He calls.
Ace queen.
You got it.
What do you have?
Queen 8.
How many times you want to run?
3.
Okay.
River number 1, 5.
5.
You didn't have any ace. I gotta give you good news.
River number 2, tray of spades.
Oh, good talking, Dario.
Shot for an 8. For my friend, 1 time for Texas, an 8 for Texas.
This game's sick.
Texas, he's from
River
Texas.
number 3 goes to Dario.
Take it.
Ship full cargo to the Italian.
They ship 80,000 with 1 pair at this table.
All right, let's rebuy.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down on 8-6 suited. Calacanis opens to $1,200 with pocket 7s. That raise is standard from middle position. It folds out trash and plays well post-flop. Negreanu flats with 8-6 of diamonds. He is not calling to hit a pair. He is buying position, playability, and high equity boards. This texture massively improves the caller's range relative to the raiser. The pre-flop opener still has all the overpairs, but the callers capture the lion's share of the strong draws and 2-pair straight candidates. Negreanu's exact hand is near perfect. He leads $2,500 into 2 opponents, a small but purposeful stab that pressures ace-high and pocket 8s through 10s, while charging draws that he blocks and dominates.
Got a little some of that.
This card flips equity on its head. Kalecani spikes a set, but Negreanu straight also arrives. Importantly, the new straight is very available from the caller's range. Any 6 often peels the flop, so Kalekanis' set is strong but not invulnerable. Negreanu bets $7,000. That sizing accomplishes 2 things. First, it prints value immediately against one-pair overpairs that do not believe, and against sets that fear raising into a straight. Second, it continues to charge diamond draws that are now drawing thin versus a made straight. From a range standpoint, the flat is telling. He is unlikely to have an overpair without redraws to a full house that wants protection. The board pairs. Full houses become possible and, in fact, Kalekanis improves from a set to 7s full of 4s. Negreanu straight loses equity versus the portion of Kalekanis' range that slow played the turn with boats in mind, but many worse hands still exist.
This is reminiscent of a typical hand for Daniel Negreanu. Let's have the nuts with a redraw and see what happens. Let's pair the board, yeah. God, really? No, gotta be kidding me.
Guess that means you don't have the Jack 9 this time.
No, I had the nuts with a redraw. What'd you make it? How much?
35 more. Only 35 more.
Only 35 more. Why?
Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
What did you have? Like, you don't have a set, right? Because you would have raised me.
Yeah, I would have raised the set. I could have flopped a straight.
Could have flopped straight. Okay, I can beat that. Whew.
I could be on a flush draw. Could be busted.
Yeah, that's true too. 4s and 5s. No, I think you raised me.
I could have quads.
Yeah, you could have that too.
I could have aces and just be overplaying them.
I was gonna fold for sure, and now I'm thinking about calling you. So you're doing a good job if that's what you want.
Now I'm gonna be quiet and pretend that's not what I want. Tip the dealer $1,000. I will show it to you. You have to split it with the other dealer.
Oh, guarantee.
That's a good deal.
So $1,000, you know what I have. You don't have to live and wait till the end of the season.
There's the call.
Sorry, not in the hand.
He called it. 7s.
Keating is looking down at pocket 10s. Pre-flop begins with Brandon making a loose open to 4,000 from early position holding 10-8. It is a splashy play, but with stacks this deep, implied odds often trump range charts. The action folds to Keating in the hijack with pocket 10s. This is a pivotal moment. A standard textbook approach would be to 3-bet to isolate the weak opener and thin the field. However, Keating is playing a different game. He elects to just flat call, a deceptive move that disguises the strength of his hand and effectively invites the rest of the table to come along. The flop lands, a deceptively dangerous board that acts as a massive cooler funnel. It is the absolute dream scenario for Keating, who flops a full house, 10s full of jacks. However, for Steve and Martin, it is a mirage.
Ellen signature, I love it. Everybody plays their signature, so nobody plays Giaro. I can feel that now.
They both flop trips, but with terrible kickers. The action starts with a microscopic lead of 1,000 from Steve. This tiny bet effectively freezes the field, inducing calls from Martin and Brandon. When it gets to Keating, he raises to 25,000. He knows he has the board crushed and wants to start building a pot immediately.
That was interesting tank fold. I was really enjoying that. I was really enjoying that tank fold.
Wait a second, you're about to
I didn't know some plays tank fold sometimes.
How much is it? Sometimes.
I was thinking you play
I like the
snap folds or tank calls.
I like the tank
or tank raises.
I tank fold all the time.
But tank folds, I really don't know if it is your shtick.
Right, Steve calls.
Steve, you bet 1,000 and now you bet 25?
No, I didn't bet 25. Sorry, I called 25.
I should probably go all in now, but I will think about it.
Good luck. Martin, do you got my purple
happy
pills?
About that? He's not happy about that. I just love this. I just love this.
Steve, refusing to believe his trips are no good, makes the call. Then the madness truly begins. Martin, sitting on bottom kicker trips, decides this is his moment and puts in a 3-bet to 69,000. It is a massive overplay in a multi-way pot, but he is convinced his jack is best. Keating smooth calls, setting the trap. This flat call is lethal. It convinces Steve that Keating might just have a draw or a 10.
If you call now, Steve, you are my new hero, I'm telling you. Alan was my hero, he will always be, but if you call...
Steve's all in.
Just kidding.
Is it all in or not? How much is it about?
More than you.
It's almost 800K.
He shoves all in for a staggering $784,000. He effectively turns his mediocre trips into a bluff catcher against the nuts.
I put 69, yeah. He called and he goes for a little bit over top, yeah.
Steve and Martin played their hands as if they were holding the absolute nuts, failing to realize that in a 5-way limped pot, Trip Jacks with a 9 kicker is barely a bluff catcher. Keating simply had to wait for the aggressive players to donate their money to him and his boat, turning a standard set mining spot into one of the largest pots in televised poker history.
I love it. Alan, you definitely not play. This is not Giaro approved, this tank. I'm telling you. Huh?
I think I'd be both beat.
Beat? Okay, just put the money then.
All right, I'll call.
Can we play showdowns, guys? Just for spectators?
Twice.
Can we play showdowns?
2.1 million in the middle. Alan Keating, a 2-1 favorite.
You don't want to do that?
Against the field.
But I would like to enjoy myself.
No, you're good. You're good.
What can you guys all have? King, queen of spades, somebody, right?
No.
So can we show the hands?
Yeah.
You okay?
I'm not showing my hand.
Oh my God.
That's a good call. But I probably win.
We're gonna run it twice.
1 or 2 boards. What? 2, twice.
I have Little, Casino, Royal.
Lovely. Come on, ace.
Ace or 9 for
That helped
Steve.
you guys.
Ace
Why?
or 6
Ace.
for Martin.
Any card.
Any
helps.
card in the turn is gonna
Literally
improve me.
anything.
Anything in the turn is going to improve me.
Ah, there's
Instead
my
it's a
3.
and Keating wins the first run out.
Greedy.
Needs to dodge. Keating scoops.
Quite a few McLarens.
Keating's looking down on ace-queen offsuit. Peter comes along with ace-7 suited, a hand that plays fine multi-way but is easily dominated by Keating's calling range. Stanley takes the button with Jack-10, a classic position hand that realizes equity well against 3 opponents. Keating flats pre-flop with ace-queen from the small blind instead of squeezing. Out of position and deep, that call invites dominated aces and worse queens to continue while avoiding a bloated pot against a raiser who can 4-bet. The flop favors ranges that arrived by calling. Keating's ace-queen makes second pair with the best kicker and holds the key blocker to Broadway. His call versus the c-bet is standard. Raising turns his hand into a bluff catcher against stronger kings and sets while isolating himself versus better. Peter's call with ace-7 is thin but defensible. He has bottom pair, an overcard, and backdoor hearts, and he wants to keep his range uncapped for later streets. Stanley's call with Jack-10 is mandatory. He has the best improvement potential with the open-ender and position. The turn ace changes the incentive structure completely. Keating now holds aces and queens, and, out of position in a multi-way pot, checking is superior. Betting announces strength, repels worse, and makes it easy for a better ace like ace-king to play perfectly against him. By checking, he allows weaker aces and floats to fire or show down worse. Peter quietly improves to 2-pair, and he should notice how clean his value targets are, aces that didn't connect with the king or queen, plus stubborn kings that hate folding. But checking has logic too. He controls the pot and traffic and preserves bluffs for the river. Stanley's check is the costly one. With Jack-10, he owns the nuts on a paired board that still grants him clear value from top pairs and combo draws. Letting it check through surrenders value and protection, and it exposes him to exactly what happens next. The board pairs again, and his straight gets stone dead. The river double pairs the ace and reorders the hierarchy. Keating upgrades to aces full of queens, Peter lands on aces full of 7s, and Stanley is drawing thin to chatter.
And this is going to get very nasty for Peter. Maybe Stanley also, but especially Peter.
Checks from Keating and the original raiser are invitations. Peter accepts with a big bet that targets trip aces and missed draws and tries to dodge raises from the few better full houses. Stanley correctly folds once the ace pairs again, straights or dust. Keating's river decision should lean exploitative here. Against Peter, who routinely overplays strong 1-pair and boat combos, a value raise prince. Keating's hand is under-repped. He blocks the most common equal boat with the queen. Peter's turn check makes ace-king less likely, and Texas Mike is capped after check-check.
Did he just call? He just called.
Andy is looking down on ace-4 suited in a 3-way pot. Mariano raised to $500 with king-10 suited, and Charles 3-bet to $2,000.
Could we see a cold 4-bet? No, he's going to call, though. Mariano's going to 4-bet, though. Charles calls. Andy may be considering something.
Good call.
He just calls.
The pot is $27,000 pre-flop. They all have an equal chance for now. Let's see what the flop brings.
Oh, no! You gotta be kidding me!
Andy checks because he thinks he has the best hand. Mariano checks because he knows he has the best hand. And Charles checks because he knows he's drawing dead. The turn comes 3 of hearts, and it changes nothing for everyone.
Mariano, in a 4-bet pot, has flopped a straight flush, and Andy with the ace-high flush.
Mariano cannot check anymore with the straight flush and value bets $8,000. Charles understandably folds.
Mariano started this hand with about $300,000.
Andy raises to pot amount $35,000.
Imagine having a straight flush and getting raised.
The only way to get away from an ace-high flush is if the board pairs. In poker, the correct move doesn't always get you the win. Let's see how much Mariano is gonna bet here, and if Andy makes one of the greatest folds in poker history.
Mariano on the right side of your screen, right there, has flopped a straight flush in a 4-bet pot. $97,000 in the pot.
There's no way anyone is folding ace-high flush here.
Board does not pair, and Andy just bets $120,000. Mariano moves all in. Andy calls and shows him the ace. $611,000 pot, and Mariano can't believe it.
Daniel Negreanu is holding on Queen 10 suited. Pre-flop, this looks completely standard on the surface, but the seeds of the later pain are already there. Negreanu opens Queen 10 suited from early, the kind of hand he loves, connected, plays well, multi-way, and can make disguised big hands. Dimjan flatting in position keeps his entire range wide. Medium pairs, suited broadways, suited connectors, some traps. Then the big blind comes along as well. What that means strategically is simple. By the time they see a flop, there are 3 ranges involved, and Negreanu is the only one who has really capped nothing. He is the pre-flop aggressor. He has all the big pairs. He has the strongest broadways. The flop comes down absolutely dreamlike for Negreanu. 10 Jack Queen. Top 2 pair, a board that slams his perceived range as the raiser. But it is also an insanely dangerous texture. Every random hand with an open-ender or a gut shot suddenly has a reason to stay. When Jacobson checks, Negreanu does exactly what you expect from someone who just smashed this board and knows he smashes it range-wise too. He bets $22,000. The sizing is important. It is not tiny stab sizing. It is a "this pot is about to get big" sizing. Dimjan just calls. That call is the first warning sign. He is not afraid of the story Negreanu is telling. The turn bricks off with the 3 of spades. From Negreanu's point of view, that is one of the safest cards in the deck. It does not complete any obvious draw. It does not pair the board. It does not change who is supposed to own this texture. So he does what good players do when nothing changes, and they already had a huge value hand. He keeps telling the same story and increases the pressure, betting $55,000. This is Negreanu effectively saying, if you were floating or gambling with some weak draw on the flop, this is your exit. If you continue now, you are representing something serious. The river brings the deuce of clubs, another nothing card in terms of raw texture. From Negreanu's seat, it is almost the perfect river. Straights are still the same straights, sets are still the same sets, and there are no obvious busted draws that suddenly got there. He still has top 2 pair on a board where he is supposed to have all the strong top-end value, so he fires again, $90,000 this time.
Raise. I had a feeling you were going to do that on the turn. You waited. It was smart. You got me to bet one more time.
Daniel loves calling like Miley Cyrus loves a big foam finger, but I don't think even he can figure out a way to talk himself into this one.
8-9 or something? Doesn't matter.
Nope.
No.
Yeah, ace king. 2 pair. Queen 10. Good hand.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down on 10-9 suited.
Who lost the last one?
Me, that'd be me. Steaming.
Boom.
This hand sits in the suited connector bucket that plays well. Versus a 3-bet, it has equity versus broadways, realizes well in position, and can call profitably against most small blind ranges.
Such a good spot.
Oh, him and his spots again.
Except you have to act first.
Oh, yeah.
Veldhouse re-raises to $7,000 from the small blind. That sizing represents a fairly standard linear small blind 3-bet, strong aces, broadways, and some pocket pairs. When Negreanu calls, his range keeps most suited connectors, suited broadways, medium pairs, and a few slow plays. Importantly, he retains position and stack to pot depth for post-flop maneuvering. Texture advantage is mixed. The small blind has all over pairs and more ace-10 offsuit. The caller has more 4s and 10x suited. Veldhouse continuation bets $11,500 with ace-queen of diamonds.
I love the 6-spot speech. That was the best part of this hand. It's fun. 11. Huh?
That's a good level, huh?
It was good. 6-spot. Boom, raise, da-da-da.
That bet targets folds from unpaired high cards and protects overpairs, while keeping bluffs like 2 overcards with backdoors. Negreanu's call with top pair and excellent runout potential keeps his range uncapped. From Veldhouse's seat, once called, Negreanu's range condenses around 4s, 10s, pocket pairs like jacks through 7s, and sticky backdoors. This is a pivotal card, because trips remain the nuts, and gives Negreanu a valuable backdoor flush draw. Check-check makes sense for both. Veldhouse's ace-queen has little fold equity versus 4s and 10s, and hates getting check-raised. Negreanu's check protects his flop call range, keeps bluffs in, and realizes 2 clean ways to improve, clubs and 9. Negreanu improves to 2-pair, 10s and 9s, while Veldhouse remains with ace-high. From a range view, the river shifts blocker dynamics. Negreanu's line contains more 9x, while Veldhouse remains with ace-high.
I'm all in.
So you're saying I made a good check on the turn? Is that what you're claiming? Such level. I mean, you know more about my game than anyone, so is that enough to make the difference for me? I would have felt better if I just bet the turn, you raised, and then I called. That would have been more fun. Fire on the river. Are you hoping that I'm going to play good here? I'm so confused.
Daniel calls, and for a change, sees some good news at Showdown.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down at 8-7 suited. Pre-flop reveals the exploitable nature of playing too many hands against world-class opposition. Lou opens the action to 1,400 with Queen-8 offsuit. From a game theory perspective, opening this hand from early to middle position is incredibly loose. It is a hand that is often dominated and plays poorly post-flop.
I'm gonna play tight.
I like being in position.
Lock is out.
Because then you got to go first. I love it.
I gotta go first.
Kenny calls.
However, Lou relies on his post-flop volume experience to outplay opponents. The flop comes down a texture that is wet, connected, and heavily favors the calling ranges rather than the pre-flop raiser. Despite this, after Kenny checks, Lou decides to fire a continuation bet of 2,500. This bet is somewhat habitual. Lou is betting simply because he was the aggressor.
C-bet.
I remember his C-bet percentage. What was it? 78%, so I guess I got a call. Your check rate percentage is so low on flops in this spot, so I wasn't worried about you.
Yeah. Not worried is right.
However, the board hits Negreanu perfectly. He has flopped middle pair with his 7, along with backdoor equity. The turn card is the 2. Lou, realizing that his continuation bet failed to shake Negreanu, decides to shut down. He checks, effectively waving the white flag. This is a critical moment for Negreanu.
Check.
Lou checks.
All right, check's good.
Queen eye.
No good.
Daniel takes it down.
Got pairs.
Nice hand.
Thank you, sir. Your C-bet percentage from online, I remember being very high. And your 3-bet percentage was 29%. Heads up. You remember that?
What does heads up? This is 6 max.
I know, but I'm just saying, it's still kind of short. But your C-bet's super high, so I'm going to call with pairs on flops, just so you know.
Really?
Yeah. You love that kind of talk. Isn't that sexy?
No.
C-bet percentage, check raise flop. Ooh, what's your PFR and your aggro factor?